Martin on Mondays, nothing but magical. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Enjoy that little alliteration there. Yes, that is right. Martin Truex Jr. It seems as though that the championship form that we expect from Martin Truex Jr. that we saw back in 2017, it looks like it is back in full force. That 19 team is going to be a force to be reckoned with heading into the playoffs. And what was a very, very entertaining day in Loudon, New Hampshire. Obviously, we know that the rain pushed the race to Monday. And if a race is on Monday, more than likely Martin Truex Jr. is going to be a factor regardless, since because of this win, this is the second time in the 3 races that we have ran on Mondays this year, Truex has won 2 of them. So that's a fun little statistic there. But before we get into it, I was very shocked by some of the reaction from the fans that thought this race was boring. I'm gonna just point this out. Just because there is one leader the entire time doesn't mean a race is automatically boring. This race proved that. This race had a lot of exciting racing, great passing, lots of exciting restarts, even had, sprinkling some crashes into the mix, some interesting strategy were taking place. It was a very fun race, despite the fact that Truex was the fastest car by a mile compared to everyone else. Truex won stage 1 and won stage 2, but during this time, there were some interesting moments. Kyle Busch, who finished dead last in this race, he had an abysmal day. He crashed in qualifying on Saturday in turns 1 and 2. Sunday during the race, he started at the back, made his way up to around the top 25, then kind of just settled in there. Wasn't able to improve beyond that point, and then he crashed. Again, got loose in turns 1 and 2, right near the end of stage 1, just lost it, backs it again into the outside wall. Then you also saw Corey LaJoie also around the same part, smack it into the outside wall. LaJoie continued for a little bit before hitting the wall again and retiring. Kyle Busch immediately retired after that incident. Stage 2 had a bit of an interesting twist to things. Truex Jr. continued to lead, dominating until lap 162 when Eric Jones spun in turn 4, bring out the caution. Drivers come onto pit road, and Eric Almirola, who, he is weird. This is exactly like last year. Almirola was garbage for all of 2021, except for New Hampshire, and pulled a win. The same thing happened here. 2022, I should say. 2021, garbage, was good at New Hampshire, won. 23, the same thing. Garbage all year, comes to New Hampshire, starts in the top 5, and has a top 5 car. And after that Eric Jones spin, got on pit road and was able to get out ahead of Truex, who fell back to 5th, and Almirola was the new leader for about 20 seconds. Going to turn 1, loose wheel, right rear tire comes off, smacks into the wall, done for the day. What's interesting about this is that if you hear the radio communication, Almirola, I believe that says something on the lines of, are the tires, are the wheels tight, lug nuts good? Cruiser goes, yeah. After that crash, what happened? Nuts weren't tight. It's like, I mean, I admire the brutality of the honesty from the crew chief, but it was just like, wheels tight? Yep. What happened there? Wheels weren't tight. Oh my God. But yeah, after that, Truex took the lead right back and would go on to win stage number 2. Stage number 3, of course, things are going to happen. Things are going to start to ramp up. Truex leading. Now he's got a new contender, Ryan Blaney, in second. That he didn't have the fastest car, but he was able to keep somewhat within distance with Truex. But then after the final round of green flag pit stops, Truex even opened up his lead after the pit cycle over Ryan Blaney, and it seemed all but done. But of course, in NASCAR, it ain't over till it's over. 30 laps to go. Brake rotor issues for Noah Gragson. The miserable season continues for that Legacy Motor Club team. Goes head on into the outside wall in turns 1 and 2 to bring out the caution. And then on pit road, Ryan Blaney, who was going to be inside the top 5, he ends up getting a penalty, running over equipment leaving his box. That takes him out of contention with that penalty. Kevin Harvick, meanwhile, who was in the top 10 for majority of the race, stayed out, while the top 8, the first top 8 that pitted, took just 2 tires, including Truex. Truex was able to quickly, in one corner, get out ahead of Kevin Harvick, but then he had another Penske driver, and Joey Logano, but this time Logano was actually able to put up a little bit of a fight with Truex. But then we had a couple cautions. Earlier you had Alex Bowman spin, quotation marks, because he spun halfway, then got right back settled, then NASCAR through the caution, got a bit trigger happy with that. But then with 14 laps to go, Christopher Bell, who had a real fast car today, got mired back in the middle of the pack due to issues on pit road and penalties and so on. He ends up spinning, losing it on his own in turns 3 and 4, and backs it into the outside wall a ton for the caution. Then on the final restart, Truex is able to get out ahead and stay out ahead of Joe Logano to win here at New Hampshire for his 34th career Cup Series victory, his third win of 2023. And check out this interesting little stat. He has led over 1,100 laps, which puts him third for most laps led at the track. And this is just his first win at the track. That tells you how dominant and how close Truex was able to be at the track without getting the job done until today, and gets his third win, like I said, of 2023. Leading all but just around 60 or so laps. Absolute domination from the 19 team. Here's a look at the race results. Martin Truex Jr. wins, Logano second. Larson, a quiet third place finish for him. Kevin Harvick bounces for fourth. Keselowski, great run for him in that RFK team in fifth place. Tyler Reddick, how about this? Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Bubba Wallace, all of 23XI Racing, including the owner. Great runs, especially Bubba, since he had brake issues. On top of that, he couldn't see his dash, so he couldn't tell with his, how brake bias. He had issues inside the cockpit of his car, so for him to get eighth place finish, great run for him. Ninth, Austin Dillon, using pit strategy to his advantage. And how about Chase Briscoe? That guy has been garbage for all season, finally gets a good run in 10th place. Eric Jones rebounds for the 11th place run. Chase Elliott 12th, Michael McDowell, Alex Bowman, and Chris Busch at the top 15. Also a good run for Michael McDowell. He's shown some speed in good portions of the race. Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley, Ricky Stenhouse, AJ Allmendinger, Harrison Byrne, the top 20. Ryan Blaney, with that penalty, settles for 22nd. Ross Chastain, off day for him in 23rd. William Byron in 24th. He had some moments. He showed some speed early in the race. In fact, actually led the early parts of stage 1 ahead outside of Martin Truex Jr., but had an issue on pit road, made contact with another driver, and apparently it damaged the splitter, and it caused him to just fall off to 24th place. Austin Cindric 25th, Ty Dillon. Ty Gibbs rode the outside wall in turns 3 or 4, smacked it pretty good in the final 2 or so laps of the race, finishes 27th. Ryan Preece 28th, Christopher Bell, and Ryan Newman, the top 30, and then finally BJ McLeod, Noah Gragson, Corey LaJoie, Eric Almirola, Cole Custer had mechanical issues, and Kyle Busch rounds out the 36 car field. And here's a look at the playoff grid with 6 races to go until the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., the new points leader, that's why his name is highlighted with a brighter green. He is currently the points leader, 18 playoff points to his name. William Byron falls to second, Christopher Bell third, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Logano, Reddick, and Stenhouse. Those 11 drivers are currently locked in, and more than likely, those 11 drivers will be locked in. All of them are confirmed locked into the playoffs. Maybe outside of Stenhouse, but more than likely, I don't think we're going to get 6 new winners by the time we're done after Daytona. So yeah, more than likely, all 11 of these drivers colored in green will be locked in, but who knows at the end of the day. Kevin Harvick plus 137, Brad Keselowski plus 108, and Chris Buescher plus 97. Those 3-4 drivers, they, unless something major happens, if they could just pull together some solid finishes in the remaining 6 races, they will be a part of the playoffs. But it's the bubble drivers that gets real interesting. 15th on back, Bubba Wallace jumps from 17th to 15th with his 8th place run, but just a mere 2 points ahead of the cut line. Michael McDowell currently holds the final spot, just 1 point ahead of Daniel Suarez. AJ Allmendinger, though, bit far back, minus 20. Ty Gibbs, a rookie, minus 41. Alex Bowman back in the top 20, minus 42. So yeah, what are my thoughts on this race? Honestly, like I said, it was a great race. It wasn't the best in a race. I give it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't the best race. Obviously, I would like to see more passing up front by the leaders, but NBC proved that you can still put on a good race even if nothing's happening up front. Unlike Fox, and again, I hate to meat right NBC again, but they did everything needed for a broadcast. They showed battles. They showed battles as far back as 25th place, 15th, 18th. They had 2 or 3 boxes showing all different types of battles, showing that, hey, there is passing. Yes, nothing's happening up front, but still, you can pass. Tire wear wasn't that much of a factor. I talked about with Harvick that he was able to stay out after the Gragson caution. No tires and still finished 4th. So tire wear wasn't that big of a factor. Truex, even though a lot of drivers took 2 tires, the drivers that took 4 tires didn't make up much room compared to if you're already out ahead. So track position was still key, but still, strategy was still very interesting. Battles were interesting. You saw 3-wide, 4-wide racing even on restarts, and even late into runs, you saw some battles that were very fun to watch. NBC even had those like little moments where they showed like brake rotor animation, things like that. I mean, they just did a really good job, man. Man, I wish they did the full season, but anyways, that's for a whole nother story. But I thought it was a very great race from start to finish. It had everything I thought needed to make an entertaining race, despite the fact that we had a guy that led all but 60 or so laps. Also, a great turnout for the fans on Monday. I mean, considering the monsoon that was Sunday, good crowd still that came out for a Monday early morning or Monday early afternoon for racing. So I thought they had a good show. I was very entertained by it. Hopefully y'all were too. I mean, if you didn't enjoy this race, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, just because a guy dominates, that doesn't mean a race can be boring. And today it proved just that. Ever since 2018, New Hampshire has been putting out bangers, just banger after banger after banger. I don't know when the last time it went to just one race. I think 2020 it went to just one race from that point out. But man, it's been producing some solid races, more than solid races, great races. So yeah, very happy about that. Man, that 19 car Truex. Woo! We talked. There are always, even though I know with the playoff grid you can't really, the regular season championship don't really matter, and that things can still happen. That 19 and 24 team. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Who do you go with? Who do you go with? For experience, you go with the 19, but that 24 team, even though they've had a bad week or they had a bad race today, they're still going to be clicking for the remainder of the year. So those two are going to be very entertaining for the regular season championship because Truex is only 17 points ahead of Byron for the regular season title. That's nothing. That can all go away in one race. So yeah, it's going to be very, very fun to see what can happen in these next 6 races. You also consider the bubble drivers that we talked about with Bubba, Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell. Hell, we can even throw in like Allmendinger, Gibbs, and those guys. I mean, that bubble spot, that's also going to be entertaining these next 6 races. And also, we got to talk about the Hendrick drivers with Alex Bowman and especially Chase Elliott. Elliott he just had a bad day. He just had a bad race, and I don't know, 6 races to go. When you consider the races we got coming up, next week is Pocono. Week after that, Richmond, Michigan, the Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and then Daytona. 6 really completely different types of racetracks. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I mean, at the moment right now, Chase Elliott is 60 points below 16th. 60 points behind Michael McDowell. So again, it's not impossible. Elliott can make up. He can get up there based off of points, but that margin it's getting close to the point where he has to win. And considering the fact that, I mean, right now Chase ain't running all that great. I mean, yes, he's had finishes, he's had good runs, but he's not running, compared to, drivers like Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell, Bubba, Suarez, and those guys, they ain't too shabby. They're still not putting up the results maybe as much as Chase Elliott is or getting those stage points. But, I mean, Bubba finished 8th. McDowell had a strong run. I think he finished outside the top 10. Suarez didn't have a good race today, but I don't know. I just think Elliott making the playoffs is going to be a lot more difficult than what people are saying. People are saying that, oh, Elliott, he's got this in the bag. No question, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be very tough. Also, Alex Bowman. I mean, I don't see the speed to win. I don't think he has the speed to win. 42 points out. Again, compare him to the bubble drivers. He ain't that far off in terms of he ain't that much better. So, man, we got there are 3 different battles going on right now in the Cup Series in these final 6 races. The regular season championship between Byron and Truex, the bubble drivers with Bubba, McDowell, and Suarez, and now you got throwing those Hendrick duos of Bowman and Elliott. Can they make it into the top 16? Next week at Pocono should be very fun to watch. But what are your thoughts on this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you not? Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Congratulations to Martin Truex Jr., your winner at New Hampshire.